إذا الأمجاد قد عظمت فللأمجاد بانيها ومن يسعى إلى العليا.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The fourth juz, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. From amongst the subjects mentioned with special importance in Surah Al Imran, one is that of spending in the path of Allah. At the beginning of the fourth juz, an important instruction is given regarding this topic, which is, one cannot acquire the perfect degree of piety until he does not sacrifice those things which are beloved to him in the path of Allah. To reach one's destination, selflessness and sacrifice of things which are beloved to one are necessary. Besides this, other important topics mentioned in the fourth juz are as follows. Number 1. After the command was revealed for the changing of the Qibla, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam started facing the Kaaba and not Bayt al-Maqdis, the Ahlul Kitab, the Jews and the Christians, began making a huge fuss. They said, Bayt al-Maqdis is more virtuous than the Kaaba, and this has the honor of being the first house of Allah on the face of earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in refuting them, mentions three specialities of Bayt al-Haram, meaning the Kaaba. Number 1, it was the first place of worship on the surface of the earth. Number 2, there are clear signs found on it which points to its honor and virtue, including Maqam Ibrahim, Zamzam and the Hatim. And number 3, whoever enters the vicinities of the Haram attains safety and security. One pious alim has mentioned, there is no building in the whole universe more honorable than the Kaaba. Allah Ta'ala commanded that it be built. Jibreel alayhi salam drew its plan. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam was the builder, and Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam did work as an assistant. This is that place of worship which Muslims are commanded to journey towards, to visit it. That person who can bear the expenses of travelling, etc., and if the other conditions which make Hajj compulsory are found, then immediately Hajj becomes fard on this person. If he delays without a valid reason, he will be sinful. A. Muslims are commanded to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he should be feared. Hold firm unto the rope of Allah and not break up into groups. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala said, the right of taqwa, meaning haqqa tuqatihi, is that Allah Ta'ala should be obeyed, He should not be disobeyed, He should be remembered and not forgotten, He should be shown gratitude and not ingratitude for the favors which has been bestowed. B. The Muslim Ummah is the best and most virtuous of all the other nations. The reason for this is that contrary to the other Ummahs, they believe in all those things which Allah Ta'ala has commanded that they should believe in. And added to this, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, meaning commanding righteousness and prohibiting evil, is a righteous religious obligation on the Muslims. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala said, whoever's heart desires to be counted amongst this Ummah, he should fulfill this condition of Allah Ta'ala. This statement of his was in reference to this very verse in which the above three qualities of the religion of Islam have been mentioned. كنتم خير أمة خرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. As long as these three qualities remain in the Muslim Ummah, they will be worthy of virtue and Allah Ta'ala's special favor. If Allah forbid, any group of people is deprived of these three qualities, they do not remain worthy of this virtue. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, by him in whose hand my life lies, continue commanding righteousness and preventing evil, otherwise Allah Ta'ala will afflict you with his punishment, then you will make dua to him and your duas will not be accepted. Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah. Point number 2, important point number 2. To forge close friendships with the hypocrites and enemies of Allah is prohibited. 4 reasons have been mentioned for this. Number 1, they will leave no stone unturned in trying to cause harm to you. Number 2, they desire from the bottom of their hearts that problems and difficulties afflict you in both worldly and religious matters. Number 3, hatred and enmity is apparent from their faces as well as their speech. And number 4, hatred and jealousy which is concealed within their hearts is far more worse than that which emits from their mouths. قَدْ بَدَتِ الْبَغْضَاءُ مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ, etc. Important point number 3 of the surah. After being prohibited from befriending the hypocrites and confiding in them, mention is made of the Battle of Badr, which was the honor of holding the crown of all the Islamic battles, where on one hand those who participated presented a unique example of bravery and fearlessness. On the other hand, they witnessed with their own eyes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power and unseen assistance. The Muslims were few in number. They were poorly equipped with weapons. Muslims have learned 2 important lessons from this battle. Lesson number 1. Victory in any battle cannot be solely attained on the basis of large amounts of weaponry or the strength of the army. Its fundamental condition is Iman and Yaqeen, conviction, ittiba' and obedience and steadfastness. Point number 2, as long as Muslims remain steadfast on the truth and hold on to the rope of Allah firmly, they obey the commands of Allah, the help of Allah will remain with such people and they will always be victorious. Important point number 4 of the surah. The Battle of Badr has been briefly referred to in Surah Al-Imran. However, at this point the main focus is the Battle of Uhud, which is explained in 55 verses. In these verses, the causes and wisdoms of the defeat have been mentioned. There are also verses containing warnings, explanations of events, criticism and praise. One who has the slightest knowledge of Islamic history will know that the Quraysh suffered a humiliating defeat in the Battle of Badr. To avenge this defeat, they made full preparations, and in Shawwal, the 3rd year of Hijri, under the leadership of Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu, who was not Muslim at the time, they attacked Medina Munawwara. The army of the Quraysh comprised of 3,000 soldiers, of which 200 were mounted on horses and 700 were shielded with armor. They also had 3,000 camels. 500 women also accompanied them. In comparison to the 3,000 Quraysh, the Muslims numbered only 700. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam deployed a cavalry of 50 horsemen on a hill behind him under the leadership of Abdullah ibn Jubair radiyallahu anhu. The hill is remembered by the name of Jabal al-Rumat, the Mount of the Archers. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized to this group that they should under no circumstances leave their posts irrespective of whether they were victorious or not. So much so that if they saw the birds eating the corpses of their companions, then too they should not move. The commander-in-chief, meaning Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spread the Muslim Mujahideen in such a way that the Qurayshi army was forced to confront them face to face. Thus, it became impossible for them to use their conveyances. In individual combat, 8 high-ranking Quraysh leaders were killed, which caused the Quraysh to lose courage. The attacks of the brave and valiant warriors of Islam like Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu anhu and Sayyidina Abu Dujana radiallahu anhu were so brave that the mushrikeen lost footing and began deserting the battlefield. On seeing the defeat of the Quraysh army, the archers of Jabal al-Rumat left their posts, unfortunately, and all besides 10 Mujahideen became preoccupied in collecting the spoils of war. Khalid ibn Walid radiyallahu anhu, who was not Muslim at the time, who was until now unsuccessful in attacking from the rear, found a golden opportunity to do so. After disposing of the few remaining archers, he launched a powerful attack. The Muslims were caught out unaware by this severe attack. When the soldiers of the Quraysh army who had fled the battlefield got news of this attack, they returned to the battlefield. Now the Muslims fell prey to an offensive on 2 fronts. Outwardly, Due to a small error, the victory of the Muslims had turned into defeat. 22 mushrikeen were killed in this battle, whereas on the other side, 70 Sahaba radiallahu anhu were martyred, including Sayyid al-Shuhada, the leader of the martyrs, Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's uncle. The Qurayshi army were in such a position that had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not changed their hearts, they would have completely destroyed the Muslim army. In spite of being presented with the opportunity, they sufficed on an incomplete victory and decided to return to Mecca. The hypocrites, in keeping with the inherent disposition of creating mischief, began creating doubts in the minds of the people that if the Muslims were indeed on the truth, they would not have been defeated. That is why, after reviewing the Battle of Uhud in 55 verses, mention is made of the hypocrites in 25 verses, who would not let any opportunity to cause mischief go by. After burying the martyrs of Uhud, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam got news that Abu Sufyan, on reaching Roha, had realized his error, that he had returned without fulfilling the objectives of the battle, and due to the criticism of his companions was intending to launch a second attack on Medina Munawwara. Upon receiving this news, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam personally set out in pursuit of them. He also laid down the condition that only those mujahideen had permission to join him in pursuit of the mushrikeen who had participated in the previous day's battle. Now judge for yourself what was the strength of the iman, yaqeen and loyalty of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, that they had just buried 70 martyrs and they were weak and injured, yet they were ready to answer the call of their beloved master Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With great speed they travelled to a place called Hamra'ul Asad, which is situated about 8 miles from Medina Munawwara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed awe in the hearts of the mushrikeen, and they quickly turned back to Makkah Mukarramah. Due to the name of this place, this event is known as the Battle of Hamra'ul Asad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states while mentioning this battle, those people, in spite of being wounded, who answered the command of Allah ta'ala and His Rasul, there is great reward for them who are pious. Point number 5. In the last ruku of Surah Al-Imran, mention is made of the people of Iman who always remember Allah, who ponder over the creation of the heavens and the earth, and who continuously make dua to their Creator. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi wa ikhtilafil layli wal nahari, etc. At the end of the surah, the 4 principles of success have been mentioned. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wattaqullaha la'allakum tuflihun, etc. Number 1, sabr. Stay firm on Deen and let not the heart become constrained due to difficulties and problems. Number 2, musabara. In front of the enemy, display more bravery and firmness than them. Number 3, murabata. Prepare oneself to confront the enemies of Deen. And number 4, taqwa. Fear Allah in all conditions and places. This ends Surah Al-Imran. Thereafter, in this juz, we start Surah An-Nisa. Approximately 1/4 of Surah An-Nisa is found in the 4th juz. It is also a Madani surah. It consists of 176 verses. It is called Surah An-Nisa Kubra, the lengthy Surah An-Nisa. In the 28th juz, Surah Al-Talaq is also called Surah An-Nisa Qusra, meaning the short Surah An-Nisa. It has been titled Surah An-Nisa because in this surah many laws pertaining to Nisa, meaning women, have been mentioned. The portion of this surah which is in the 4th juz includes the following important topics and laws. Number 1, orphans should be handed over their wealth and no one should try to defraud them, nor should anyone try to exchange their valuable assets for worthless things. This applies to both orphan boys and girls. However, it is more often in the case of the inheritance of orphan girls that the unlawful usage of wealth takes place. Important point number 2. It is permissible to get married to up to 4 wives. However, the condition is that the husband should have the ability to fulfill their rights and be just and fair with all of them. If the husband cannot do so, then he should suffice on only one. The practice of Having many wives existed before the advent of Islam. However, there were no rules and restrictions regulating this practice. Neither were the number of wives specified, nor did the conditions of justice and equality exist between the wives. A man could get married to 10 or more wives, or as many as he wanted. In whoever's rights he wished to fulfill, he would do so, and whoever he wanted to keep in difficulty, he would do so. Neither would he divorce her, nor would he fulfill her marital and social rights. A person could refer to her as a widow with a living husband. Islam specified the number of wives and made it compulsory to fulfill their rights. The curse of the modern culture, which is trying to spread its influence over the entire world, does not legally regard it as lawful to have more than one wife. However, as all the people know, there is no prohibition to have illegitimate relationship with more than one woman. How sad is this reality that many so-called Muslims express agreement with this cursed culture in both thought and practice. Important point number 3. Before the advent of Islam, women were not given the inheritance at all. The Arabs used to say, "How can we give wealth to such people who cannot ride a horse, lift a sword, or even face the enemy?" Due to this ignorance principle, women and children were deprived of inheritance. However, Islam ended this oppression and granted the rights of inheritance to women and children. The giving of women a portion is not anyone's favor, but rather it is the right of a woman herself. Point number 4. After mentioning the proper manner in which women should be treated as well as the share of inheritance to be given to them, mention is made of those women to whom one is prohibited from marrying due to the following relationships: kinship, lineage, relationship due to marriage, or foster relationship, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Hurrimat alaykum ummahatukum wa banatukum wa akhawatukum," etc. in a long verse. This ends our juz 4, fourth juz.